But you don't pause that thought, because that, oh my god, MarineLorD, he was too late with this. He was greedy, it's a reactionary outpost, it's going to be punished. If there was one Civ that could get Leenock back in this after losing 2 in a row, to at least bolster him around, feel good about it, what would be that Civ? What would be the go-to that Leenock could use to recover? It's the Chinese. Can he do it? Is it finally time? Are we going to get a Leenock with... Uh-oh. MarineLorD picked Mongols. Help. Oh, wait. No, he picked on Mongolian Heights. Maybe less help needed. Let's see how this one plays out, folks, because this is Leenock on his tried and true, his signature Civ. The Chinese. He's had enough. He knows it's a scrim. He knows it's all well and good. It smiles all around. It's practice to become better. But you know what? There's a point where you're just kind of sick of getting punched in the nuts. And it's time for you to punch someone in the nuts instead. Let's see if that's the case. Because the issue I see here is when you pick Mongols like this, and MarineLorD is definitely no Mongol pushover, it's not a punch to your nuts. It's more a kick. If he gets the timings right, if his opening is solid enough. Let's see what the opening is going to be on both sides. I'm expecting this to be a Castle Age rush build out of the Mongols. The first question mark is C. And I see something interesting. Look at this switch up. MarineLorD, he doesn't even go for the Uvu. He's straight onto the docks. What a switch up. And it will totally go unexpected from Leenock. What up? This is actually hype. Folks, this might seem like a small detail. You're like, clearly, you know, Pigeon has had too much energy drink today. He's clearly 5 in. He should stop right now. He's shaking. Hope he doesn't hold his baby. Right? No, come on, guys. This is big. You never see this. Mongol players are so incredibly greedy for the Uvu. They always build Uvu first because it's passive income as long as it exists, right? You pay 150 wood straight away, and then gradually you get paid 1,500 stone. Not to mention the flexibility, opening up double production into different avenues, allowing you to go for a pasture play. You just don't see this. But MarineLorD has identified the only way he's going to make it onto the water is if he does it first. The reason being is that you're up against the Chinese, and the Chinese do produce the dock units 20% faster. So what does he do? Beats him to the punchline, stops him from getting a big economical advantage, and now is in a situation where he's also gathering with 3 villagers because he built this that fast on the shoreline fish. Why is this a big deal? Well, these villagers, they gather at a phenomenal gathering rate. What would you think you'd get from gathering on shoreline fish with villagers? If I said sheep are 0.75, yeah, if I said deer, like around that as well. Let's say boar, this boar right here, he's 0.9. Why are we not killing the boar instead? I'll tell you why. This shoreline fish gives you 1 compared to the 0.9 food a second of the boar. You get 1 food a second. That is a phenomenal gathering rate. That is actually the highest possible gathering rate without considering any sort of buffs that civs get or whatever, by default, for villages. You can't do better than that. It's such a brilliant move, actually. And I've been seeing this a lot more out of players, especially when your intent is to build outposts afterwards. So look out for that. I'm expecting a bunch of outposts to go up very soon after this. And at that stage, it's going to be nigh on impossible for Leenock to actually get his hands on the waterfront at all. This is pretty hype. I mean, I'm excited to see a switch up, right? We don't actually... I feel like we don't see the Mongols on Mongolian Heights that often either, right? It's not exactly a highly sought after civ, I'd say. Like, people tend to pick it on Dry Arabia, maps that maybe have a little bit more flexibility. The reason why Mongols tend to not like this map is because of the choke points. Like, you can be blocked out very easily. And also with the nerfs to Yam, the benefits of setting up an outpost network, while still good, they aren't as strong as they once were. In that you can't have outposts on your side and raid into your opponent's side. By the way, just to emphasize even more how big of a deal this is, because I've noticed some people like, how much do you gather on these fishing boats? These fishing boats gather at 0.75. See that? See that number? Look at this number. Fish! Exactly. So much better. So much better. The scout is a little bit annoying from Leenock, but you can see MarineLorD quick to address it with his own. We'll force him away soon. That's how big of a difference it is, though. The reason usually you want fishing boats on water hybrid maps or water maps is for deep water fish. Deep water fish for fishing boats is 1.1, I think. It's still... It might have been nerfed slightly, actually, but it's still pretty damn high. But the big one is genuinely for these villages at 1. Like, it's a phenomenal advantage. For comparison, we said sheep are at 0.75, as are farms. Berries are very slow at 0.66 by default, unless you're the deli. But you know what? Pause that thought. Because that... Oh, my God. MarineLorD, he was too late with this. He was greedy. It's a reactionary outpost. It's going to be punished. And the villagers are in trouble. Spearmen move out and force you to move out. What a move from Lee. And this was MarineLorD's own greed. He had the wood. He had it banked. But he waited too long, and it means that outpost, even with 3 villages, is not going to go up. And now you're in trouble because you're going to get torched here. MarineLorD made a mistake. Remember, whenever you go for this feudal, fishing play, it delays your feudal, right? That's why the outposts are important. You need that defense, that static defense to deter this sort of rush. This ironic rush, because usually this is what a Mongol player would do against anyone else. But instead, Leenock astutely identifies the mistake that MarineLorD made. No outposts, and also because he went hard into fishing, it means he delays his feudal timing by about 2 minutes, offering up a grand window of opportunity for Leenock to punish him. And thus, once again, the pattern continues. Whoever goes fishing first ends up getting punished on Mongolian Heights. Oh my. And that's problematic, because that is a sizable force of spearmen to deter you. And also now in a situation where Leenock is going to tech up ahead of you with the Imperial Academy, he's able to be this greedy because MarineLorD went for the dock play. And now MarineLorD is still not ready for a tech up himself because of that dock play. It delays you a lot, folks. Remember what we were just saying, right? The gathering rates for shoreline fish from fishing boats isn't that good. The whole logic is that it pays for itself in a few minutes because it's like a secondary TC, right? It's a secondary way of producing resource gatherers. But the key detail is you have to keep that dock up, and you still have to buy enough time to access feudal and get defensive ships out. The fact he wasn't able to do so now means he is in dire straits. And, oh wow, look at the read on this as well. Tech up has come out from Leenock. Outpost did go up first this time. Torches at the ready. Leenock recommits. Defensive force on his way from MarineLorD. But this might be a little bit too hard. Leenock, he had the right idea, but he was a little bit too slow. MarineLorD slivers his way to the north side and gets the second dock up. And this time, with the needed outpost that should have been there the first time around. Question is, what does Leenock do next? Does he hang around? Does he go for the Barbican? He could actually drop a Barbican here and block this area and just deny all your fishing, and also block a crossing. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the play he goes for. It's actually a pretty solid one in this situation. Also, keep in mind that usually you want the Barbican because it unlocks the Song Dynasty, allowing you to produce villages quicker. And on top of that, gets access to Jugnu, which if MarineLorD actually gets baited into a longer feudal age at all, he's actually going to suffer from that, right? Because Jugnu slaughter everything unarmored. I'm not expecting him to hang around in feudal, though. Keep in mind that when you do play as the Mongols, in most matchups, your goal is to crack castle as quickly as possible. Right now, cracking castle might be a problem because this early aggression. This is really, really well played by Leenock. You can see more static defenses going up, but I think you just Barbican here. Well, it looks like a secondary TC first for Lee. Does need to sort his gold. Keep in mind that he hasn't been gathering gold the normal way, right? He was doing it through taxes, hence why like the income isn't that high. Looks like it's going to be fixed now. I would still love to see the Barbican over here. I think Barbican just like slaps MarineLorD out of this game. And you know exactly where he's going to be. You can see he's already prepping the walls, so he's going to encapsulate and ensure that MarineLorD cannot raid freely into his territory. And MLorD is now trying to get back out onto the gold. Looks like he shifted the Gur into the wood line to get efficiency there, as he does need to push more of these fishing boats. And also needs to think about pushing maybe a few military vessels. We'll get the ability to do so in a few seconds. You can see how delayed he is on this Deerstone. Now, the question mark is whether Lee thinks about going docks himself. You have to remember that the light junks, although still a powerful unit, aren't as strong as they once were against the junks of the Chinese because you can't drive by anymore. Remember when the big change they made to naval is that you have to stand still to attack now? So these more chunky vessels like the galleys, like the junks, are more formidable compared to things like dhows and light junks now. And also, you're the Chinese, so you do get to produce those boats 20% faster. You can see the walls now going up. So it's going to block him. Barbican does go down, but defensive in the end from Leenock. Interesting choice here. Didn't actually want to box his opponent in. I think the issue in Leenock's mind is the idle time of running all the way over here. He doesn't want to miss a beat because he realizes that what's probably happened from MarineLorD is he's going to go straight for castle as quickly as possible. He doesn't want to lag behind. In theory, he could have benefited from this, though. He could have went for the Barbican near the crossing and then fell back for the boar afterwards. But just chooses to go for the defensive option. But it is 2 CCs with the 35% reduced production time, so he's basically at like 2.6, 2.7 TCs total, compared to a normal person just having the 2 TCs, right? Due to the Song Dynasty reducing the production time by 35%. In the meantime, MarineLorD is still being frustrated by the aggression of Leenock, but is starting to transition to archers. An interesting choice, actually, out of MarineLorD. But very baity the way he's done this. So Leenock might think that his opponent is going to hang around in feudal longer, but we can see clearly that MarineLorD, although he's pushing archers, he's not sacrificing his timing now. He's moving up as quickly as possible with a step readout that will bolster his gold income, and with the fishing economy as well, ensure that he doesn't lag behind Leenock, despite the fact he's playing against the Chinese TC boot. This is all info that MarineLorD had as well, right? Because the scout has been weaving his way around. Will continue to do so. And yeah, he can see by the amount of people on gold, he should understand what's coming soon from Leenock. This should be a boost up ASAP into castle. The question mark is, what can Leenock do about these crossings? Because one thing to keep in mind is because you allowed MarineLorD to keep his ships and keep his docks, you can already see problem one, right? He's going to build in the transport ship, which allows him to circumvent these walls. Problem number two is both of these civs have access to war junks. However, one of them already has the docks down and is about to crack Castle Age. I think we know what comes next, folks. We'll see if MarineLorD feels the need for it, though. Might be that he's not actually afraid of potential raids, so he just focuses on land forces and doesn't get defensive ships. But it is an option available to him, one that could be very threatening to Leenock. It could block him from even crossing any of these points. MarineLorD, I think he's ready to get frisky, maneuver arrow to try and shift in as quickly as possible. Wants to see if he can actually snipe out a few villages. Leenock, he hasn't walled himself in. He only walled those crossings. He has now gone for the dock, though, and it is going to be the junk first, so no war junk to open up. But it will be there soon, because he needs that Castle Age first, and it looks like he's finally ready for it as he gets the food and gold together. And the galley is just a deterrent more than anything. He's aware there is a possibility of war junks are being pushed, but he's playing off the fact that MarineLorD hasn't shown any aggressive units just yet on the crossings. There we go, Aston clock tower underway. I'm expecting a war junk straight away from Leenock. There's just too much value in the water to not go for it. While that's happening, you see what MarineLorD is doing. While he actually has control of the waterfront, he's going to use it to cross with the man-at-arms now. You see the raid in, blocking off the wood. This could be big. Leenock is going to require additional wood to get his hands on the war junks. And it looks like he's revealed his hand as well. Might be a third TC coming out from Lee. Something that is now info gathered by MarineLorD as he shifts through with his Khan. So sees the tech up, sees the gathering on stone, sees where he stopped at. He can actually count on the stone outcropping. He understands this is not going to be a keep drop, but this could easily be third TC. That gives even more reasons to get aggressive now from MarineLorD. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see MarineLorD push a few monks across with these transport ships, because he could steal away a lot of relics here. Like Leenock, he's going to be delayed getting into those relics. In fact, there's no show of it. He isn't finding the wood just yet. Instead, his gold line's been found. As the man-at-arms are going to force a disengage. 24 idle villages now from Leenock doing nothing. Lee has at least scouted out what's coming next. The question mark is what he can do against it. Preten is going to start pushing out those monks. No double production just yet, but it should be an option soon from MarineLorD. Palace are now starting to emerge for Leenock, and this is actually a big deal. The change to Yam now means that you are at a net disadvantage movement speed, right, on the aggressive. Because you no longer have that lingering Yam of 10 seconds to kind of move in and raid actively. You're up against these man-at-arms varieties that move much quicker, right? Palace move at 1.38. That's a substantial lead over the 1.12 default of the man-at-arms. So very much an important detail that MarineLorD looks to get an outpost down on his opponent's side of the map if he wants to keep these raids up. Otherwise, this is going to teeter-tot the other way. Still no war junk investment just yet out of Leenock. But MarineLorD, he feels the need for it now. He understands what might happen with the Palace Guard emerging. He doesn't want to be flooded upon from all three crossings here. So he gets the defenses up. Looks like the scouts have got the eyeballs on what's happening over here. Oh, not only do they see the Monk, they see the secondary TC. So MarineLorD looking to not fall behind in the villager department here. He's going to be behind still, but the docks have evened it up, right? Like, he's still getting good gathering rates here. And on top of that, he has the step readout. Then he's now getting his relics as well. Like, he's vastly ahead on these timings compared to Leenock. Leenock will always have a bigger villager count. You're playing the Chinese. Like, it's just a given. Everything else is just looking better for MarineLorD, though. Now the wall junks are a problem. And Leenock, because he didn't side invest into his own, he's going to lose the dock now. And wall's going up, but the wall's intercepted. Nice move with the man-at-arms. And these walls do nothing, by the way. Like, I cannot emphasize this enough. These walls are trash. Even if you got them up, what are they stopping? You just lost your dock. You haven't got any war junks out. And all MarineLorD has to do is move the transport ship down here and ferry them across again. Like, this is a very weird play for me from Leenock. Like, he's going to need to kind of step it up. Otherwise, he's going to lose control of his own side here. Make no mistake, game is definitely far from over, but MarineLorD, he's getting everything he wants right now. The war junk is going to deter Leenock's aggression away. He has gone into the STBs now, but he needs to Springald. He can't push war junks anymore, but he can push Springalds. Springalds that have enough range to actually snipe these units out. The re-wall attempt is going to be futile here. He stands his ground. STBs splashing onto the archers, but not enough units here to make it truly valuable. And with the dock going down, not only do you lose 150 wood and the ability to build war junks, but you did just pay 25 food and gold over to MarineLorD. And good timing as well, because look what's happening here. New dock going up in the center. MarineLorD depleted plenty of the fish up here. Needs to find some new goodies in the center. He's going to look to focus around the center now. And MarineLorD, he's kind of just getting to have everything he wants here, right? Like, I don't feel like Leenock has necessarily stopped him at any stage in this game. And this is kind of common for a lot of Chinese players right now. They'd like to play very condensed. They like to focus on their own eco. They don't think about harassing early on. They just want to get Imperial, right? The issue with this, however, is are you going to be getting Imperial from a point of strength? I feel like MarineLorD is building up a sizable military force to a point where he should be able to punish you once you tech up. And I like this from Leenock as a result of that. He is getting the defensive keeps down. This will delay the timing because even if MarineLorD does go into the trebuchets, remember that it's not traction trebs you build. You build... it's not counterweight, rather. You build the traction trebuchets. Traction trebuchets that have less range and do less damage, meaning it would take a lot longer to get through these keeps. Also, I don't think he even has improved... Okay, he does. I was about to say, I hope he has improved siege engineering at this point. And instantly into the mangonels and Springalds. Uh-oh. Outpost as well. This is what he was missing before. He's going to fix that. Movement speed loss. Make sure that he's not outmaneuvered by the pass guard. But you can see what Leenock is prepping for, and this could be a little bit too greedy. The timing on this, he might actually have to just reinvest into a military force here. I don't feel like just unlocking Imperial alone wins you this game. You're going to need about 2 or 3 minutes of buffer time afterwards. So you need to make sure you're at least pushing enough troops to hold your opponent at bay. Treb's being built up now. MarineLorD, plenty of gold, does need to sort his wood though. And his wood line is not exactly optimal. He could move them closer to the Gur. Also, keep in mind the Deerstone location. Look at this. So he's reaching a point where he's not actually keeping it fully optimal. Does need to prep a secondary wood line. And over here as well, yeah, no outpost, so no Yam at all. There it is. Leenock preps himself and goes for it. Builds it up. Actually really far back here. Spirit Way not going to get full value in terms of discount to build around it. But he's doing this to hide it away from his opponent. He doesn't want MarineLorD to know this is happening right now. Although he might be suspicious considering he's seen no sort of ride out from Leenock so far. Why else would he be hiding in his base? Why else would he have these castles up defensively if not for that? Trebs need to be a little bit careful. Even more careful in the coming minute. Because remember, with this tech up, it offers up an opportunity to get your hands on the shutter triggers. The shutter triggers that will actually allow you to almost insta-snipe the Trebs whenever they're in range. As they only have 13 rather tile range compared to what will be 12 with that upgrade. Leenock now able to realize those upgrades. This might be the time to go. MarineLorD instantly starts shuffling forward. Like, you can't wait around anymore. You need to get in. You need to be aggressive. He could try and catch up, though. Like, all of a sudden... Yeah, I think he's going to try to apply pressure while taking up. I quite like this play, actually. And look at the flood-in point. And there's so many farms back here. Unguarded farms. to force a reaction. Only 2 Nester Bees right now. Springel's on their way in. Treb is going to focus on the keep at the front. MarineLorD, when he sees those Nester Bees, he decides it's not worth it. Instead, he's going to back up for the moment because he's begun his tech up. Not going to be far behind the Chinese here. But you do need to be careful because the Chinese do gain a lot of power at this stage in the game. They will continue to do so. If he gets up to the double tech up, that's when he unlocks the big GG, right? That's when he gets his hands on the Ming Dynasty, giving him the Grenadiers that can just eviscerate your front lines. But keep in mind, Grenadiers were somewhat discounted in terms of value in this game. Not in terms of cost, although, you know, really the Spirit Way helps with that. What I mean is that the Mangonels got buffed, right? They now do additional damage to range units, so Grenadiers is a type of unit that isn't as effective as it was before that change, especially considering you're up against a Civ that will build Mangonels. Same for Jignu. That's why I'm expecting mainly just some crossbows and Palace Guard coming out from Leenock. Nothing too crazy here. He definitely needs the crossbows up against the Man-at-Arms because, you know, these Man-at-Arms are slightly more beefy than Palace Guard, even if they're slower. But the Palace Guard are going to be phenomenal as a front line, but also as a way of gap closing and just eviscerating this Archer battalion that MarineLorD has relied upon. You see MarineLorD now with his tech up, just needs to actually get his initial research and make sure he pop caps quickly here. You can see Leenock is beating him to the punchline as it stands. About 180 pop cap to the 160 of MarineLorD. And he's also insulating himself on the eco. Income is going to go through the roof now for Leenock. With the granaries being set up, 3 of them, and plenty of farms, this is where MarineLorD might struggle to compare. Another issue to consider is as this game drags out to a later phase, you will eventually draw out these gold deposits. So I think the optimal timing for MarineLorD to look to end this is probably like the 35-40 minute mark. Leenock's best case scenario, like if this has to drag out for 2 hours, you're very comfortable because it means the step readout is no longer useful for the Mongols. And on top of that, like you're gaining ridiculous, like the infinite scaling it feels like, right? With the taxation on top of the granaries is very hard for the Mongols to compare in that hyper late game eco. More Springles coming out. Could be an opportunity to put down a siege workshop and get your hands on improved shot triggers. And yeah, as soon as I say it, there it is, researching. Really big deal here. Going to give him the free tile range increase, which means he'll be able to trade out better against the Springles of Leenock. And Leenock, although he's a more tanky, they don't have the range advantage. Even if you get your hands on the shot triggers, you're still going to be a range deficiency here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Leenock just gives up on Springles at this stage, as they just no longer serve their purpose. In fact, Bombards just might be a better call. They're tankier, right, with double the HP. And on top of that, when you look at the damage spread, 120 against Other Siege compared to the Bombards doing 170 with the plus 34 on top. Like, it's just a given, I think, that you just stick Bombards now. They're more pricey, but they'll last longer, they're harder to snipe, and they can easily just trade out Springles. Springles getting a range to trade out right now. MarineLorD has the surplus range there. Front line's going to start to clash. Palace Guard just trying to plow on through here. Are going to blocked out, though. They cannot easily reach onto the back line of Siege here. The wraparound will continue, though, onto the Springles now. And all the Springles gone already. Nester Beast will deal with the Vanguard from MarineLorD, but the chase through. The force back. MarineLorD giving over a lot of ground here. And reinforcements are pushing forward from Leenock. Bombards plowing through the front line. The outpost gone, the Yam Speed gone. Now you're in trouble. MarineLorD has to stand and fight, but the Mangonel's gone. The Springles not looking healthy either, and Leenock just plowing on through here. Attack speed arrow to try and deter this. But the Palace Guard are committed. The trades are going to be phenomenal for Leenock here as he looks to snipe out the remaining Springles and pursue forward. And what a play here as well. Afterwards, Leenock now going to clean house onto the dock lines as MarineLorD is going to lose this fleet of fishing boats now. No way to keep them alive. Pushback continues. A few hand cannoneers in the mix as well is going to become problematic from MarineLorD. MarineLorD, who is now switching into them himself. He does have more for the moment. And MarineLorD has more surplus in reserve, so he can afford to replace these at a rate that maybe Leenock cannot. Needs to be careful with Siege, though. Bombards could be hard to gap close upon, and this is where I would love to see MarineLorD just mix in a few horsemen. Horsemen that can just snipe out these Bombards, snipe out these Nester Bees. It might be that he just feels confident relying upon Springles, but we've seen the weakness of that, right? We've seen how willing Leenock is to throw away the Palace Guard to get rid of those units, and how easy it is for him to do so. Oh, okay. And now we see what Leenock wants. He says, wait, if I just need to torch things down, if I just want to get rid of your siege, is there not a better unit? Why, yes, Bigly, there is. It's good of you to remember it, because most players forgot this thing exists. He preps the stables for a Fire Lancer push. I'm excited. I don't remember the last time I saw Fire Lancers in a 1v1. A unit that got heavily nerfed, people moved away from it, but maybe now is the time to bring it out again, especially considering what you're up against here, right? It's a ranged battalion of hand cannoneers and archers. And remember, it's not just about the torch damage that Fire Lancers offer up, it's the fact that they have splash damage as well. And Yuan Dynasty is so good here, because even if you're still pushing Palace Guard and hand cannoneers, they be going zoom. Right, these Palace Guard, they're going to go from 1.38 to 1.58 movement speed. They're basically two-legged cavalry. The hand cannoneers as well, with that Yuan Dynasty increased movement speed, they'll be able to match the pace of the ranged battalion of MarineLorD. He won't have the network, like he won't have this network that is going to benefit him anymore. The Yam will even up the difference, but it won't give you an advantage over the Chinese. And you know what the other beautiful part is? The Chinese don't need the outposts, right? You do. The Yuan Dynasty, like the movement speed buff they get, is everywhere, everyone. They don't rely upon the outpost to keep this aura alive. It's a big one-up over the Mongols. And the Palace Guard. Oh my god, the march around from Leenock! Look what he found! At the backside, the step readout, fully exposed, and the Palace Guard, now with the increased movement speed, there's no way to move away because MarineLorD, he never completed the outposts. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. He's trying to shift across now, but the villagers will be chased down here. The best thing you can do is wheel back towards your military force, but you'll still lose several villagers to do so. Still lose several of your military force to do so, because look what's happening. It's a two-pronged assault now. Leenock rolls on through. He built the stone walls. He prevented any assault on his side, and now he maneuvers out with a secondary line of Palace Guard and Bombards rolling in towards the villager line on the wood. And you know what? Worst case situation here, because you're stuck here, trading badly with the elite archers up against the elite Palace Guard. And while that is happening, he's chipping away at your eco. And right now, MarineLorD is shriveling up. 134 eco to the 86. He's miles ahead. And the Bombard line now up to 5. This is becoming a problem. MarineLorD needs to get across, needs to get an answer. We said we would have liked to see Horseman, and this is exactly why. Because he has no easy answer right now to the siege of the Chinese. And not just the siege. And now you're going to have to deal with cavalry, because look at the upgrades coming through. He's eliting them up. We're going to see some Fire Lancers in the field in the next 2 minutes. Fire Lancers that are completely unanswered here. No Spearmen. No front line to speak of. MarineLorD, he went full range. You never go full range. Not against the Chinese. And you're about to learn why. And now the Nesta Bees as well, harassing away the wood lines. Ay, 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 ay. Palace Guard still alive on the backside. MarineLorD has not been using this step readout for the last minute and a half at least. They'll at least finally get those outposts up, but my god, what they delayed. And you just see the spread out. Leenock goes looking for clues. This is as good as having cavalry. It's just a more chunky horseman, really. Ah, they do more damage than the horseman, let's be fair to him. Speaking of things that do more damage than Horseman, but look like Horseman, you can see he's pop-capped right now, but he's ready to unleash the beast as he is amassing Fire Lancers in the center. Hello? I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, these lads went the way of the dodo, but they've come back. Oh, this is like seeing a dodo with a shotgun. I mean, it's about to look like a dodo with a shotgun, because it's going to be hard to believe that these units went extinct. Just look at them. Beastly units here. 25 splash damage. Oh, no. This is about to get grim. And the Palace Guard as well. These psychos. Just look how quickly they swing their sword running like this. Honestly, I feel like they should be doing damage on the move with this sort of animation. And on both sides as well. The two-pronged assault. MarineLorD with the slow ranged battalion will not be able to react to both of these assaults. And you can see already the torch damage coming out of the market to get rid of that. Hand cannon is in position to deter him. We'll be able to shift away quickly though. Well, that's happening. He establishes in the center here. Outpost going up. Uh-oh. Spaghetti-O. This is about to get dark for MarineLorD. Now the pass guard clapping through. Lee Archers, I mean, it doesn't feel like a great solution. I understand why MarineLorD done it. It's a cheap front line to protect the hand cannoneers, but the only reason that this trade is good for him is all the cannon upgrades in the outposts. There's only so many outposts that he's got actually up so far. Bombard's now rolling in. Starting to lose your infrastructure to push replacement troops here. Leenock prepping even more fire lancers. With every troop that goes down as the palace guard get thrown away. This will be slow, but it will be painful. MarineLorD, if he wants to bounce back, he's going to need to find a way of bouncing Leenock from his side of the map. Just seems difficult with the outpost crawl though. And look at the surplus as well. Leenock has so much food, wood, gold, and stone in reserve. He can afford to lose 3 armies over. MarineLorD cannot. Springle's trading out well. Bombards are going to be forced back for the moment. Remember, that is one advantage he still has. He has the additional range over the Chinese. He needs to be careful. That advantage isn't going to last long as more of these units get sniped out. More fire lancers are going to emerge for Leenock. You see right now, he's just pushing too many troops to actually get enough fire lancers out yet. The static defense is going up. The keeps on MarineLorD's side of the river. Not something that he will be thrilled to see here. And the pass guard once again marching around the side, relentless in their pursuit of the step redoubt. Oh my, oh my. Seems like MarineLorD could do no right here. Going to be forced to take a fight. Trade out. Nesta Bees need to be careful. They don't have the range to deal with the Springles here. Springles will dispatch them. Up to 6 now from MarineLorD, but here come the Fire Lancers. Not the biggest line, but still a big threat here. Heavy torch damage. 40 torch damage each. And that's something he can sneak in with. Onto the TC. Oh my god, this TC is exposed. Look at his health right now. If he just targets out, he could probably take it out, but Leenock, weirdly enough, just goes in looking for the villagers instead. Not the most optimal of choices here. We'll start to torch onto the outpost, and oh my god, the damage. Just a few of them reap here. And those are costly losses, remember. He upgraded them with the cannon emplacements, so each of them a thrifty price on the stone. What happens? Well, Fire Lancers go down. New Fire Lancers produced. At a discount, mind you. 84 food, 14 wood, 14 gold. I mean, Leenock, he could just cheese this. He could just push unlimited Fire Lancers now. And the issue that MarineLorD has is his army's too slow to respond. Like, look at it. Look at these guys. Even with Yam movement speed at 1.29 movement speed, good luck up against 1.72. Nesta Bees continue to be traded out, but, I mean, you don't need them anymore. You've got a different form of splash. And Leenock looking to make a big splash in this game. Rides in again. Onto the outpost, Leenock looking to target out the cannon emplacement ones. Those are the ones that do the serious damage here. And the torch damage is just so high. Look at it, 40 per unit on a 1000 HP structure. A 1000 HP structure that you cannot upgrade like other civs. Means you cannot rely on static placements here. His defenses just aren't going to be good enough. And the keep as well. The crawling Leenock now rolling in with the bombards in place. And look where the army is. MarineLorD completely out of place here. He's distracted by the keeps on the front line. He's trying to get through the outpost. And a new line of Fire Lancers on the way. And even more bombards alongside them. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I mean, the bombards, like you can see he's trying to shift across. The Springles are his only saving grace right now, but if he gets enough Fire Lancers that rides in, even with staggered formation, these hand cannoneers could actually experience a heavy dose of splash damage. And you can see Leenock is just baiting him to the backside of the base. He says, okay, choose. Deal with the bombards or deal with the Fire Lancers. But either way, you're going to lose something here. The wraparound. Uh-oh. Chasing on the bombard, baits himself in a little bit. Not an ideal option here. The torch damage is high, but not high enough. Bombard is going to stay alive. It's just a cheap trick right now from Leenock. His troops continue to roll on in. Bombard's now targeting onto the landmarks. He's going to force him back a little bit, and the Springles not able to easily reach in. Woo! Ay, 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 ay. It's tough to see what MarineLorD does here. Like, it's a static force. Like, everything he's doing is too inflexible. I don't see how he gains ground against this. Like, Leenock has continuously gained ground off the back of fast units to force you to the back of your base, and then when you're not there, he builds more infrastructure on the front line. And one bombard is not bad, but it's not going to be an insta keep blitz. Instead, it's going to be insta snipe onto your bombard. And look at the gold right now. MarineLorD, he's running out fast. Barely any villagers over here working because he gets raided on the right side. He has to react again as it looks like Leenock has once again wrapped in with a Palace Guard. And MarineLorD, we're going to baby levels on the eco here. He just doesn't have the gold to get bombards out and thus doesn't have the answer to the keep crawl. Oh no, now the fire lancers are coming in. Now the splash damage here could be substantial. The Palace Guard are distracting, but Leenock, he's just so fixated on the backside here. But it's fine. He can afford to lose this because keep in mind what's happening here. Your army shifted to the east side. What's happening on the west? It's exposed, and now the Palace Guard will march in with the fire lancers as well once again. As soon as he gets the bombard out, it's going to be gone, and he's had enough. MarineLorD is just so frustrated about the state of this game. He knows he's slowly going to lose it, so he doesn't wait around. GG gets called. Leenock showing you he's still got it with his signature Civ.